Shri Gurubhyom Namaha. This is Hemalata from Pun Vidyashram. Today's session is about the continuation of chapter 1, what, where, how and when. In previous session, we discussed about the early settlements of people near rivers and hills. What kind of food they ate, how they dressed up, etc. Humans settled near Narmada were skilled gatherers and hunters. People developed agriculture in Sulaiman, Kirtar Hills and Vindhya Mountains. Indus and Ganga were the rivers in which many cities flourished. Humans traveled and migrated into subcontinent which enriched cultural traditions. Name of our country derived from the word Indus or Sindhu. Bharata was mentioned in Rig Veda, the oldest script. Today, you will learn about finding out the past. You may have a question that where we get all these informations about the past accurately. There are several ways of finding out about the past. Handwritten sources are reliable and they are the primary sources. We should search for the sources that were written long ago. The following are the ways to find out about the past. Historical records. Historical records such as inscriptions, manuscripts, travelogue, epics, and other official documents, etc., gives us vital information about our past. Monuments. Monuments constructed by various rulers provide us with very significant information. The material used in various monuments tells us about the economic conditions of the past. Agricultural sources. The material remains of past throw light on social, economic, and political conditions of the past. Manuscripts. Manuscripts evolved from the Latin word manu scriptus, meaning written by hand. Manu is hand and scriptus is to write. It refers to old documents actually written by hand before books were made. These were usually written on palm leaves or on the specially prepared bark of a tree known as the birch, which grows in the Himalayas. Over the years, many manuscripts were eaten away by insects. Some were destroyed, but many have survived. Manuscripts were often preserved in temples and monasteries. Manuscripts gives us information about all the subjects, religious beliefs and practices, the lives of kings, how the kings lived, people's lifestyle, kings' courage and valor, etc. It gave information about medicine and science. Knowledge of our ancestors are clearly known through these manuscripts. Besides, there were epics, poems, plays were also written in manuscripts. Manuscripts were written in Sanskrit language and also in languages used by the ordinary people like Prakrit and Tamil. Inscriptions. Inscriptions are the writings on stone, metal, or some materials as an important historical source. These are valuable historical evidence of the existence and activities of early kings and empires. Inscriptions are writings engraved on solid surfaces such as rocks, metals, pillars, and stone structures. Sometimes kings inscribed their orders on hard surfaces in public so that people could see, read, and obey them. They depict the time when early civilizations existed. They often describe the life of a ruler, his kingdom, his people, his architecture, etc. So, it would not be wrong to say that inscriptions open the door of history. They give us evidences of the early stages of civilization when kingdoms and empires were built. There are other kinds of inscriptions as well where men and women, including kings and queens, recorded what they did. Royal inscriptions were also engraved on copper plates, as were the Indian copper plate inscriptions. The edicts of Ashoka contain Brahmi script and its regional variant. Tamil Brahmi was an early script used in inscriptions in cave walls of Tamil Nadu and later evolved into the Tamil Vattelithu alphabet. Kings often kept records of victories in battles, temples, lakes, monuments built by them. So this is an old inscription. This inscription dates to about 2250 years ago and was found in Kandahar, present-day Afghanistan. It was written on the orders of a ruler named Ashoka. When we write anything, we use a script. Scripts consist of letters or signs. When we read what is written or speak, we use a language. This inscription was written in two different scripts and languages, Greek on top and Aramaic below, which were used in this area by the common people. There were many other things that were made and used in the past. Those who study these objects are called archaeologists. Archaeology. Archaeology is the study of the past by looking for the remains and objects left by the people who lived long ago. An archaeologist is a scientist who studies human history by digging up human remains and artifacts. They study the origin, development, and behavior of human beings and their societies, both past and present. They examine cultures, languages, behaviors, archaeological remains, and physical characteristics of people. How do they do it? They study the remains of buildings made of stone and brick, paintings, and sculpture. They also explore and excavate, dig under the surface of the earth. How do archaeologists excavate a site? The first step in an archaeological excavation is surveying the area. This can be done either with remote sensing or direct visual observation. Then archaeologists excavate the site using trowels, shovels, and various other tools. They carefully remove dirt and note the precise location of any artifacts found. Through excavation, archaeologists found articles like tools, weapons, pots, pans, ornaments, and coins. Some of these objects may be made of stone, others of bone, baked clay, or metal. Objects that are made of hard, imperishable substances usually survive for a long time. Archaeologists also look of bones of animals, birds, and fish to find out what people ate in the past. Plant remains survive for more rarely. If seeds of grains or pieces of wood have been burnt, they survive in a charred form. Articles like bones, woods, pots, tools will be processed with radiocarbon dating. It is a method for determining the age of an object containing organic material by using the properties of radiocarbon. radioactive isotope. Historians, that is, scholars who study the past, often use the word source to refer the information found from manuscripts, inscriptions, and archaeology. Once sources are found, learning about the past becomes an adventure as we reconstruct it bit by bit. So, historians and archaeologists are like detectives who use all these sources like clues to find out about our pasts. One or many pasts. Did you notice the title of this book? Our pasts. We have used the word pasts in plural to draw attention to the fact that the past was different for different groups of people. For example, the lives of herders or farmers were different from those of kings and queens. The lives of merchants were different from those of craftspersons, and so on. As also is true, even today, people follow different practices and customs in different parts of the country. It is because of the cultural enrichment which happened during the ancient time by the people who migrated into the subcontinent. For example, today most people living in the Andaman Islands get their own food by fishing, hunting, and collecting forest produce. By contrast, most people living in cities depend on other supplies for food. Differences such as these existed in the past as well. Besides, there is another kind of difference. We know a great deal about kings and battles they fought because they kept records of their victories. Generally, ordinary people such as hunters, fishing folk, gatherers, farmers, or herders did not keep records of what they did. While archaeology helps us to find out about their lives, there is much that remains unknown. What do dates mean? Dates are important as they note when certain event happened. This is very important because history is recorded chronologically. It helps to know that one event happened before another event so that one can examine the relationship between the events. Dates also serve to mark periods in history. If somebody asks you the date, you will probably mention the day, month, and year. These years are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. So, all dates before the birth of Jesus Christ are counted backwards and usually have the letters BC before Christ added on. Like BC, AD will also be mentioned after dates. AD stands for two Latin words, Anno Domini, meaning in the year of the Lord, that is Christ. Later, about 200 years ago, Indian historians started to use CE, meaning Common Era. So, Common Era is used instead of AD, Anno Domini, and BCE before Common Era instead of BC before Christ. We use these terms because the Christian era is now used in most of the countries. In India, we began to use Common Era and before Common Era to mention dates as India is a secular country. Thank you.